May I ask a favor? Would you introduce yourself, please?
I'm Robbie.
Thank you.
John.
Thank you, John.
My name is Jim Morrison.
Jim, thank you.
Ray Manzarek.
Ray, let me start with you in a question, if I may. How do you characterize your music? Does it have a name?
Well, it's impossible, really, to put a label on it because of where we are in the music. Being on the inside, you're only of the music, and all categories have to come from the outside. So someone else is going to have to say what our music is rather than us, because we are our music.
There's nothing superfluous about their sound. Just 3 instruments and a voice. Tough, tight, together. John Densmore on drums, Robbie Krieger on guitar, organist Ray Manzarek fills in the bottom, and Jim Morrison, the lead singer, seems to sit astride the music, his body amplified by the sound. To some critics, Morrison is guilty of gross excess. They see him as a sort of latter-day Isadora Duncan without a bosom worth bearing. But when the timing and the tempo are right, Jim Morrison can transform rock into something more than words and music, something magic. Of course, it all depends on your willingness to be spellbound. You might call him theatrical, or you might call him religious, but he's more than your folks bargained for when they bought your first transistor radio, and that's enough. The first album sells more copies than My Weekly Reader. They become superstars, able to leap tall groupies in a single bound, able to fill virtually any hall in the Western world. They garner as much publicity from their presence as they do from their music. This seems to put the authorities uptight, but it delights the kids. It's like Jim Morrison once said, when you make your peace with authority, you become an authority.
You know the day destroys the night, night divides the day. Try to run, try to hide, break on through to the other side, break on through to the other side, break on through to the other side, yeah. We chased our pleasures here, dug our treasures there, but can you still recall the time we cried? Break on through to the other side, break on through to the other side.
Tapes, there's a distinct bluesy feeling, which sometimes gets lost in the poetics, but usually comes out in the rhythm where it counts.
You sold many, many albums before you sold a single record. It's a phenomenal record success all around, the album and the single. How long did it take to make that first album?
About a month.
That's a relatively short time in this day and age, isn't it?
Yeah. We're in the middle of our second album now, and trying to top the first one.
You told me, though, that it took you about a year to accumulate everything and put it all together. We leap up here. Future plans. Somebody mentioned you're going somewhere.
Yeah, we're going to go to England, and our new album should be out in about September.
Have you selected a name for the album yet, Jim?
I think it's going to Strange Days.
All right, fair enough. John, why don't you make yourself comfortable up here, and we'll do the thing that set the whole music business on fire. Ladies and gentlemen, again, the...
People are strange when you're a stranger. Faces look ugly when you're alone. Women seem wicked when you're unwanted. Streets are uneven when you're down. When you're strange, faces come out of the rain. When you're strange, no one remembers your name. When you're strange, when you're strange, when you're strange. People are strange when you're a stranger. faces look ugly when you're alone. Women seem wicked when you're unwanted. Streets are uneven when you're down. When you're strange, faces come out of the rain. When you're strange, no one remembers your name. When you're strange, when you're strange, when you're strange. Alright, yeah. When you're strange, faces come out of the rain. When you're strange, no one remembers your name. When you're strange, when you're strange, when you're strange. Read that! Whoa!
Make a grave for the unknown soldier, nestled in your hollow shoulder. Unknown soldier.
The war is over.
You really can't, because any rhythm, any riff, any set of lyrics is a release. You know, it's just if you're releasing yourself totally into whatever you happen to be playing at the moment.
It gives me a kind of security that makes it a lot easier to express myself, whereas it's, you know, kind of hard just to read it dry.
Sure.
I wish I could. I'd like to work on that a little bit more. You know? A lot of poetry is very close to music, except when you write a poem, often you have to be in a state of mind that music can put you in with its hypnotic quality. It leaves you free to, you know, just let the subconscious play itself out wherever it goes.
Well,
there's really no difference, you know. Jim's book is the same as Jim's lyrics, you know. I can read a page, and I've heard him sing pretty much the same things, you know, for him. I don't think it's any difference at all. This is written poetry, and what he does on stage is spoken poetry. And spoken poetry is very effective. Although some poems read better than they speak, but for the most part, spoken poetry is much more effective.
What we do sometimes is like we'll play a song, and we'll play the structure of the song, and then we'll get into a free part, and we'll improvise musically, and he'll improvise lyrically, and that will probably be just straight poetry, you know. And then we'll get back into the form later.
It would naturally.
I think I like songs, but that's the part of the performance that I enjoy the most, where I have a chance just to pick up vibrations from the music and what's coming from the audience, and just kind of follow it wherever it goes.
How's that?
Carry me, caravan, take me away. Take me to Portugal, take me to Spain. Andalusia with fields full of grain. I have to see you again and again. Take me, Spanish caravan. Yes, I know you can. Lost in the sea, I know where treasure is waiting for me. Silver and gold in the mountains of Spain. I have to see you again and again. Take me, Spanish caravan. Yes, I know you can.
Dying out, and everyone is going back to the roots again. Some are going back into country, and some are going back into basic blues. I guess in 4 or 5 years, the new generation's music will be, it'll have a synthesis of those two elements and some third thing that'll be entire. Maybe it'll be, it might rely heavily on electronics, tapes. I can kind of envision maybe one person with a lot of machines, tapes, and electronic setups, singing or speaking and using machines.